I don't have an intro for this podcast, but I do go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation here with a very special guest,
Chris Scalco.
Chris Scalco, man. And I remember when I first heard your name, I was kind of like not confused, but just kind of uncertain about how to say your last name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, and then I also got it mixed up with a Kansas City rapper named Chris Calico. So that's why I was
Yes.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're aware then? That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I like Tech Nine.
Yeah, shout out to the Strange Music, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so I usually kind of it's not my preference, but I'm more knowledgeable in hip hop and stuff. But
Sure.
but luckily for you, man, I was a big NSYNC kid growing up,
Oh,
legit,
sweet.
dude. JT is still king for me. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing about listening to your music. It really brings back that '90s boy band thing. Well, it doesn't bring it back. It's more like pushing it forward. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But bro, honestly, we can definitely talk boy bands, but we can talk hip hop. I love hip hop.
No, I mean
You
shit.
probably-
Like I said, man, this will go everywhere.
What I do anyway.
Oh yeah. Okay, for sure. Cool. Well, before we get into music talk and stuff, let's talk a little bit about your upbringing and everything. What kind of rise did you have up until where we're at right now?
In the career?
Yeah. Or I mean, just character wise, growing up, and then what kind of got you into making music?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started playing piano when I was 5, so that's the beginning of me making music and developing an understanding of music. But I started writing raps when I was 13, and then producing when I was 16. And I started
snap.
singing when I was 21, and I've been doing it ever since then. That was when I decided I wanted to really pursue this professionally. But in high school was when I started really making my own music and making original music and going out into the world as a rapper and producer.
All right, for sure. And then you're out there in what was it, Orlando, right?
That's when I started. So I moved here when I was 16 to Orlando, and that was when I started really pushing it publicly. Because before that, I was writing raps. When I lived in New York and Pennsylvania before that, and that was when I started writing. But when I actually decided this is the person I want to be and how I want to show myself to the world, that was when I moved here to Orlando.
Okay, for sure. And then because like we said earlier and stuff, I met to do a friend named Tabitha and such. How did you guys even meet up in the first place? Just on a side note.
We met working at Disney. So I worked here at Disney in Orlando, and then right after I finished college at UCF in 2014, I did the Disney College program in California at Disneyland. And the idea there was to work there for a few months and find a way to stay out there and move to LA to pursue this music. So while I was out there in Anaheim is when I met her, and she's a sweetheart, the best for recommending this. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Me and my friends would make fun of her sometimes because she will you could kill somebody and she'll still be like, well, he's a nice guy, he didn't mean to kill those people. He was just having a bad day. That's definitely her character, you know what I'm saying?
super compassionate.
Very compassionate, very, very. Oh, wow. So, so coming from, Miami, well, I mean, not Miami, the Florida area to New York and Pennsylvania, how were transitions growing up and such?
They were rough, but they made me not afraid of change. So they were so beneficial for me. But in the moment, you can't see that. In the moment, it's tough to. You just realize you leave your friends, and that was when you first realized about out of sight, out of mind. You watch these relationships that you built for years just disappear very quickly, and you go back to visit people. It's not the same, and it was rough adjusting to that as a kid. But again, now it's I don't feel when this COVID hit and your whole life is uprooted. It's exciting now. You know what I'm saying? It's not this terrifying thing. What am I going to do? I'm sweet. I know I can adapt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the big benefit from all that.
No, hell yeah, for sure. For me, I've been a SoCal guy my whole life. I've been living in Southern California, obviously all my life, like I just said. But county wise, it was a big adjustment just by moving different counties every school year, basically. You know what I'm saying? At least when you transition from from elementary to middle school, then from there to high school. You know what I mean? And so I grew up in the Empire to Orange County and Los Angeles and stuff, and so I kind of understand how it is to be the new kid everywhere you go, but you're completely different environment. So I mean, hey, there's only so much you can say.
How different is it county to county?
It's definitely class difference. So Inland Empire, I grew up in a ghetto environment at the time. And I grew up on game borders, so I used to walk home, and there was always fights every day. So it was very entertaining. But moving to La Mirada, which is Orange County border Los Angeles, it was very preppy at first, and then then you start seeing how people are, and it's okay, this is something I'm not used to at all. and such. So it was a big adjustment change to like really get used to it and such. You know, people wore fitted clothes. That was one thing that was the biggest shock to me. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I guess that does make sense. The culture more than anything. It's just a way of life that people, and then if you don't fit into that way of life, you stick out like a sore thumb.
oh, hands down for sure. And so like if you had to choose, between Florida, Pennsylvania, or New York, if it was your choice to be stationed anywhere, where would you like to be located?
Oh, here in Florida.
Oh, sorry. No.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm originally from New York. I lived there till I was 9, and then I moved to PA when I lived there from 9 to 16. And PA or New York is this very culturally diverse place. There's a lot going on, a lot of different people from all over the place. Like, we were just raised in a melting pot. Then I moved to Pennsylvania, and it was all white. It was very rural. I was about 40 miles outside of Philly, and it was just very, very rural. And they were just really closed-minded, like really just racist and homophobic, and just not things that we wanted to be around. And even, like, I'm a white, straight guy, and they didn't treat me right because I wasn't from there. Like, they were that ready to find something about you that they didn't, just to latch onto. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we right away were like, this is not a place we want to spend a lot of time. But we were there for 7 years, and then we moved to Florida, and Florida is just, it's just so peaceful. It's so accepting. It's so welcoming. And I think it's because most people, I know some people from here, but most people are not from Orlando. A lot of people are transplants. We came from other places. So we're all just like, we all know what it's like to not be from here, to not feel accepted for some arbitrary reason. And look, I shouldn't, like, a lot of people have had it way worse than me. That's just one small example. But, like, still, we have that kind of understanding about each other. Yeah,
absolutely.
And then I moved back to New York for about a year when I was 23, so I got to experience it again as an adult. And down here is just very peaceful. It's a much better quality of life in Florida.
Yeah. One thing I heard about Pennsylvania, well, not heard about it, but I had a friend that went to Vegas, and I guess he was talking to, like, some security guard there that lived there in Pittsburgh, actually. And he was like, oh, you were from Pittsburgh? Oh, well, what about Mac Miller? Do you like Mac Miller? He's like, fuck Mac Miller. And I was like, shit, like, maybe they are racially divided out there. I mean, after you saying that, it just kind of like clicks in my head. But, it was like a funny story to me. So that's why I decided to share it.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh's the other side of PA. I can't speak for the entire state of Pennsylvania, because there's actually, like, going back to visit now, which I do very rarely, but when I am back there, it's a beautiful state. Like, geography-wise, it's a gorgeous state. And there's a lot of things that I really like about it. I could see myself maybe retiring in a place that looks like that one day. It's just because it's so maybe secluded, it's just very close-minded. It's something that, like, it's tough to be a progressive person in that environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure after living in all the all the different locations, it kind of helped, push the music out a little more, especially like nationwide. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you different influences for sure. Because when I first started listening to hip hop was when I lived in PA, and that was, we got a lot of the Philly influences there. So a lot of Beanie Siegel, State Property, Cassidy.
Damn, you know your shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that was popping over there at the time, in 2003, 4, 5, and of course G Unit and all that. But what I really grew up on was Radio Disney. That's where all the boy band influence comes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna cut you off one more time before I let you like really get indulged with this stuff.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
But not many people know this though. But I remember being like maybe 6 or 7. My dad took me to Angel Stadium for like some like Angels fan club thing, but it was hosted by Radio Disney. And what they did was they did like a little talent little game whatever. They showed like 3 people, 3 guys, 3 girls, and to perform, and then the winner gets a prize. And I sang "Pop" by NSYNC for that, and I ended up winning. Yeah, so it was pretty fun. Yeah, like you have to understand, I'm a big NSYNC guy in general. Like I still listen to the music to this day.
I mean, listen, man, we can talk in sync if you want to talk in sync.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are my guys.
But let's talk about Chris, man. I want everyone to understand like you a little more and get a better feel of you. Yeah. So when they listen to your music, they actually feel the passion inside it. Because me, I could first listen off of Begging, I was like, oh damn, this is shit. Hell yeah. It is something I'm used to. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I mean...
No, go for it. Yeah.
For me, I just want to be as open and as vulnerable in my music as possible. I don't want anything to be, like, too uncomfortable to talk about or off limits, because it feels like if it is uncomfortable, I have to explore that. You know what I'm saying? I have to see, like, why is this... And when you get to the root of it, and you can just be open with yourself and open with everybody else in your world, it improves your relationships, it improves the way you communicate with people, it expands people's perspective and their understanding. It just makes for a much better experience and a much better conversation.
No, absolutely, hands down. And Shit, man. So I mean, let's talk about inspirations real quick. What kind of helped mold your craft and stuff? Like, like you said, you're a hip hop guy. I don't know if that even helps you with some of your other like tracks. Cause I did like I don't know if it was called Foolin'. I already forgot the name of it.
Yeah, Fool.
Fool. So I remember like in that song, like me and my friend were checking it out before he took off, and like he was like, "Oh, this guy's like rapping a little bit too," and I'm like, "All right, that's pretty interesting and such." And so that's why I kind of want to see where your influences and inspirations came from.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, now I write mostly R&B, but it's tough for me to not start writing raps. My words it still can be very wordy because I'm so in the habit of writing hip hop, even though it's been years since I've been like putting hip hop at the forefront of my music. And hip hop, like even begging sounds like a '90s boom bap track. So hip hop is very much a part of what I do and who I am. The biggest influences on my music, definitely the boy band era. NSYNC, of course. I love Justin. I love Justin's agility. I love his sense of rhythm. I love Michael. Just the way they ride beats and the way they're just so in the pocket. I love it. I love the harmonies of the boy band era. I love Max Martin. I love all the pop arrangements and the dynamics, knowing exactly when something should appear and exactly when to take it out. It's just this perfectly ornate, and efficient way from the beginning to the end of the story, and it's never boring. It's never too much, but it's always very lush and full. It's very maximalist. I love Timbaland for something similar. His drums are ridiculous. I love Darkchild, Stevie Wonder. I don't know, man. I get inspiration from a lot of different places, for different reasons.
No, absolutely. And it's funny because I remember when Ariana Grande came out with that last album that was like taking over the world at one point. And I think it was like Break Up With Your Boyfriend, that track. And they had that NSYNC sample in there. And I remember I was listening with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And when that bridge came up, I was like singing word for word. And she was like, "Oh, you've been listening to this album?" I'm like, "No, you just don't understand it. The sample is something else. I like it."
Yeah. And it's cool that she picked that one because she's a fan. Like, it makes me ill as far as B-sides go, one of the bigger ones, but it is still a B-side. So, she's like, it's real. She didn't pick Bye Bye Bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not something common. And I love that part about it. So, shout out to her for that. Damn, man. So, let's talk about Begging. You just released it today. Although this video is not going to come out for maybe a month or so, just because I have a bunch lined up to space them out. But, Begging, how exhausted were you running shooting that thing?
I was running like a quarter mile an hour. I was like just enough to make my upper body look like I'm moving, but I was just trotting along. So unfortunately, it didn't exhaust me too much. If anything, it made it easier to be on camera because I wasn't like overthinking anything because my body was preoccupied.
Yeah. I mean, it was still a good video, man. Run us through a little bit about what the song was about for those that are too lazy to think for themselves. And, and also, how was it, shooting for the production and everything? Really good production.
Thank you. So, the song itself is about the moments when you get to... It's about the moment in a relationship where you realize things are not what you want them to be. My bad. It's about the moment in a relationship where you realize things are not what you want them to be, and it's entirely your fault. And that you have to make a choice now if you're going to accept this for yourself now. And what we did with the video... It wasn't really at all about the relationship. It was more about the path. And that's why I'm running on a road. It's like, this is the path that I'm on. This is how I got here. And all it is me running through my subconscious. And so we pass up all these different people who are just different pieces of me with different just like it starts with a little kid. And he's like this full, he's got the flower and it's full and he's all very happy. And then we move forward into... this person who's very angry, and then we move forward into this person who's very sad and kind of introvert, doesn't know what to do with their emotions. Then we move forward into another person about, hey, can I actually call you right back? I have a little bit of an emergency real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I'll call you right back.
No worries.
You keep begging, cause you know that I can't say no. And I know that we've been down this road before. Every time I get the strength to let go, you keep coming back to me, running back to me, yeah. You know I'm a people pleaser. You see my need to be needed. You pray I'm all
So, the idea of the video is that I'm running through my subconscious. And there's the constant of me and all the characters that you see is this white rose. And the white rose represents the self-love, and I used the white rose on the cover of my EP in 2017, which had a fool on it called Love Over Fear. So I've been using it since then as a kind of a motif, as a constant throughout my music. And so I'm running through my subconscious, and I'm running past this child who's got the rose, and it's this full rose, and he's like smiling and literally stopping to smell the roses. And I run a little further, and you see this next person who's actually my younger brother, and he's this angry version of me. He's very angry at the world and doesn't understand like what's going on, and he's just not happy with the way things are going. And then as I run a little further, we get to this next person, and he's clearly sad, but he just looks very numb. He just looks like he doesn't know how to process these emotions, and he's just the petals in the flower are just floating away in the wind, and he's not really doing anything about it. The next person we see then is my friend Jay, and he's like this R&B singer. He's this cool guy, and he's got his ego up, and he's like, I'm the ladies' man, and he just, putting up this front like everything is fine and he's cool. And really all that person is just projecting their insecurities on people, and just like a person who's not whole, clearly, because we see the trauma, and they're just putting their shit on other people. Can we curse?
Oh yeah, of course. I don't give a shit.
Sweet. And the next person we see is also angry, but it's different because it's more internal. It's a person who's angry and frustrated, but they're aware at this point, like, I'm the cause of what's going on in my life. I'm the reason that things are going wrong, and so they're just, it's a deep frustration now. They're upset with how their life is gone. And the last person that we see is a gentleman named Jacob, who's a friend of mine. He's about 50, and so he's got this rose in his hand, and the rose has like 3 petals left on it, and he just has this look on his face of like despair and confusion and loss, like, how did I allow myself to get to this place? Mm-hmm. So as I run through all these people, and we see the rose just deteriorate with all of them as I get older, and we see the different parts of how I got to where I am, I get to the end of the road, and I stop running, and the camera continues to move a little bit slow, but I decide I'm not going to accept this anymore. I can't remain on this path. And so I toss the rose aside. That's just me saying, like, okay, at this point, I can no longer be the person that I was. And the other detail to pay attention to is that the color in the video fades to black and white. It starts out in full Technicolor, and by the end of it, it fades to black and white, which is 2 things. One, it's the vibrancy of the beginning of the life kind of fading as we lose sight with that original self, as we lose sight of who we once were, and it goes to this dull place now. But also the clarity that comes with it being black and white. Because when things are black and white, it's like, okay, this is exactly who you are right now. There's no judgment, no anything. It's just like a matter of fact, like, this is who you are, this is how you got here. What are you going to do about it? And the very last thing is a decision, is tossing the flower aside. Okay, like, this is the one constant between me and all these other people that I've been. Like, what if I got rid of this? What would I be then? And that's where we end the video.
Yeah, absolutely. No, man, it was pretty dope, man. What's it called? Yeah, like, it's funny because it was their first time listening to your music in general. So being able to kind of like correlate with and like translate some of the things that were done, but even before you get your word out, they're just saying like, dude, this guy's actually a pretty good singer, because they're rap dudes. They're like full on rap dudes. So that's why I like hearing like just like sing-songy stuff. It was like, like, this is actually a really good one. Like, I wouldn't mind putting this in a playlist. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, man. Thank you.
No worries, man. So, let's talk about your love life real quick. On top of that note, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what's your status for now? You're single? You're in a relationship or whatnot?
Single. After that relationship that I wrote the song about, I said I need to handle these things, the things that I keep putting on other people. I keep hurting people, and I'm hurting myself. I said I need to stop. And so I'm at a place now where I finally I figured out what self-love actually is. But it took me like a year plus to actually get there. So now I'm good.
No,
but
absolutely,
I need to
man.
be single to get there,
Yeah, sometimes it takes you longer for some people, but there's once you come to realize, okay, what is it that I need, and you're kind of set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, yeah,
absolutely.
So what would it take for a woman to grab your attention?
Self-awareness, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody who's driven, goal-oriented, patient, understanding, compassionate. I just need a good person. Like, just be in touch with who you are and know who you are, and be loving. Be real.
Okay, Tabitha, hint, 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 hint. No, I'm fucking with you. No, but but that's cool, man. So, ladies, really keep your eyes peeled for that. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. You go see them live. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, like, maybe we go backstage and say like hi, get a picture, and then who knows? You never know.
You never know, man.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see when the world opens back up.
Shit, I know, right? Well, I mean, since we kind of ended on that note, I have this thing on the show where, it's like a little odd question to ask, but hypothetically speaking, since like quarantine already been extended out for a little while, let's just say, it gets extended out for the rest of the year, and for some reason the Wi-Fi fucks up, and now like you're only stuck with 3 options 3 artists or bands, whatever, to listen to. So who you rocking with for the rest of the year?
It's funny. I saw you ask this question on the episode that you sent me, and I was thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's 2 answers, because there's either the artist that you would definitely enjoy listening to the most for that whole time, or especially since I'm an artist, like you get influenced by the people you listen to. So who do I want to kind of emulate or be more like? And I think what I came to is probably Stevie Wonder, Kendrick Lamar, and Frank Sinatra.
Wow, all diverse. Shit, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I mean...
it was between Kendrick and Jay-Z.
I know, but you know what? I'm a more rap guy, too. Like, I love JT to death, man, but I'm going to go with Kendrick on that one. But that's just me personally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you're also a West Coast guy.
I mean, yes, but I actually listen to a lot more East Coast stuff in general.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fair enough. I love both, bro. The West has... The G-Funk era is just so... The West is crazy, man. You guys have game. You guys have so much. You're quick. You guys have a lot going on over there.
No, hands down, man. And even we have some new up-and-comers, man, that's, like, really killing it. Like, some of the people that are running shit right now is, like, Ben Staples to fucking G Perico, YG now. And then you also got, like Shoreline coming up. You got One Take. What was it? Shit, man. Like... Fuck, man, I forgot his name already, man. It's like one of the newest people I've been like getting put onto and stuff. Like, I have a lot of people that are like making music out here in the West, let alone the people I've interviewed, you know what I mean? So, shout out to all those. You know, I don't want to name anybody because I don't want someone to feel left out, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, you have a lot of people running shit out here, but when you have on the East Coast, yeah, fucking phenomenal people out there, you know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Exactly.
You know what's cool though, man? Like, it used to be so much of a regional thing, and I think because of the internet, because of, you know, really after the MySpace era, regionalism isn't so much a thing anymore. Like, yes, Atlanta is like kind of the capital of the world at this point as far as culture goes, but everyone makes that sound. Like, you don't necessarily know where someone is. Like, yes, there's like Chicago drill and stuff like that, but if I made a drill track and I like really listened to it a lot and I really did it well, it would be tough to know. Like, maybe not me specifically, but like a person from Florida. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
The lines have very much been blurred.
Yeah, because like I remember when ASAP was still coming out, people were like, "Oh, you know, like where are they at? From down south?" Like, nah, man, they're from Harlem. They're from New York.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where like the whole regional barriers started breaking down more and more. And so, you know, now you have all these people. Like, if you ever go to a fucking LA show, like those up and coming shows out here, you'll see a lot of hype beasts, and you'll have a lot of people playing like a lot of that down south trap music. But you have to know your roots. You know what I'm saying? You gotta salute to those people in Texas, to to Louisiana, to Florida, you know what I'm saying? You have to salute all those people before you can say, oh yeah, this is California. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, every region has had pioneers that have shaped what music currently is.
Yeah, hands down. And you know, I'm kind of reverted back, you know, because me, like, I'm a big fan of music, and like, especially with you being a singer, I've been wanting to like kind of like not link, like I guess you could say I'll link you up and everything. But Scenario, man. Scenario, he's from out here in La Puente and stuff, out in California. Phenomenal singer, dude. And I could see some really good, like, a real good duo track. Maybe even like 3 songs or so out of it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'll definitely link you some. I'll send you some music afterwards and everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm always down to collab, so thank you.
No, hands down. And so, speaking of collaborations, man, I mean, is there anybody that you want to work with or people that you have worked with that you'd like to share?
You talking about like major label people or people like in my city?
It don't matter, either way.
I mean, it's funny because over the last week or so, I've collaborated with more people than probably the whole rest of the year combined, because obviously with quarantine. But recently, I've had a bunch of people in the studio with me. Just friends of mine. My friend S.K is a crazy rapper out here, great writer. Sita's another friend of mine, Jermaine. And then the person I collaborate with the most is my brother. His name is Franchise the Rapper, so go follow at Franchise the Rapper. We put out an EP back in March together, and we've been collaborating for a very long time. So I'm open to whoever is dope, you know. But I need a good vibe. I need somebody who's genuine and with whom I can be open and who's open to good ideas and is humble enough to not let their ego get in the way of the process, you know. But yeah, if you fit those qualifications, I'm down to work.
Definitely, that Scenario one would be really awesome to see for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to hear stuff.
No, big hands down, man. Check out Be My Baby. I'll even send it to you anyway. But for those listening for the first time, Be My Baby, Scenario, phenomenal track for sure. And then what's it called? But S.K, yeah, I'm actually interviewing him on Wednesday, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How'd you meet S.
Tabitha. Another one.
How does Tabitha know S.K?
Shit, how does she know anybody? Nah, I'm messing with you.
This is crazy. My worlds are like colliding right now.
Yeah, I think it's like maybe you guys like share something together like on a post maybe, and that's how she got introduced or something. And then she told me like, oh, you should interview this guy, see if you can. And I'm like, all right, why not? And I checked out his stuff. I'm like, all right, this dude's pretty dope. I like it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. SIK is an animal. You're gonna like him a lot. He's a real hip hop head too.
Even better for me. Shit. So I kind of want to understand a little more about like your writing rituals. Like how are things even like kind of placed? Whether it's like what kind of inspires you to actually write stuff down? What's like your process? You know what I mean?
I usually start by making a beat. Sometimes I'll start with the drums. Sometimes I'll start just playing the keys. What I've been doing recently is I'll take a song that I like and just do my best to emulate those drums, to emulate that groove, just to get things going. Yeah. And then from there, I'll just play a different key, a chord structure, and just I like to make the beat first, and if it makes me feel something, then I just kind of go and just write whatever comes out, comes out.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
but I always go off of personal experience.
True. And then one thing I did realize too after like trying to do my research, I looked at like your Spotify, that's all I kind of use. And I didn't see no projects. I know you mentioned the EP from like 2017, I believe. Yeah. But I've seen a lot of singles, and like those singles hit. So I'm just thinking like, are we gonna be expecting an album anytime soon?
That's an astute observation. I appreciate you checking that. So
that's my job.
I was gonna drop an album around this time, pre-quarantine, because Begging we shot in February. It was supposed to come out in mid-March, but then when the quarantine hit, I pulled it back because I was like, it wasn't the right time. But I initially was going to do that, then I had another single set for April, and then I was going to do the album in, I believe, May or June, something like that. So at this point, what I'm thinking is I'm probably just going to do singles for a little while, because I can pace them out a little bit longer. I do want to put out an album eventually, but it feels smarter, since I'm actually putting a real plan together now, to have a bunch of singles where I can pace it out every few weeks to every few months. The difference now between releasing music now and what I was doing in the past is I would just drop singles arbitrarily with no plan. I spent all my time and energy and money and resources on making the music. And then I would just put it out in the world and be like, okay, like, you guys like it? But like now I'm realizing like you need to actually put it in the right people's faces and find out who those people are, and then creative ways to get it in their face, and you got to be cool about it. And like I'm seeing how that works more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one thing I had a conversation about recently, just saying how like if you're like an up and comer and stuff, or like you're still trying to make a name for yourself, it's really more of like I don't think a lot of people that are just gonna be very introduced to you, and then you're gonna show them the whole album. And it's like if you do so, then you really got to focus on like the first 2 songs really hitting hard, so they can really listen to the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? And so I like that method. Really good stuff marketing. I mean, you're not signed to anybody, are you?
No.
Okay, so that's why that's the best thing about being independent, and it's also the biggest headache that you have to really manage yourself, market yourself, promote yourself, all those different things. You know what I'm saying? And and that's like one thing that I love about it. But are you like opposed to doing label work in any way?
I wouldn't be opposed, but I know right now is necessary. If I am going to go that route at some point, I need to do exactly what I'm doing now. I need to be proficient from experience in every area of this. I don't want to leave anything up to someone else who knows more. I definitely want to be able to outsource, but I want to outsource when I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. Yeah.
It's more about the personal growth. It's more like this makes me uncomfortable, so I need to do it. I have to conquer it. Otherwise, it's gonna be a gnawing anxiety until I handle it. So that's where I'm at now, just tearing down walls, really. For
sure. Well, I'm gonna transition to some of my reasons why I love music is because I go into live performances. I love concerts. Don't matter if it's just like a like a hole in the wall 10-person capacity venue or whatever. You know what I mean? But I did see you were on A3C. A3C, right? That's the name of the festival. Just want to make you right.
Yeah.
Cool. So how was that experience like? Because I know that's a very popular festival out in that region.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was we had like a competition down here in Orlando to bring 8 people up there. So we had like I think like 80 something people that performed and tried out for it, and they had a panel of judges of just like kind of like the tastemakers out here in Orlando, and they voted on I think 20 of us, and then from there they narrowed it down, and I got to be one of them, and it was dope because my brother was one of them as well. So this group of 8 of us went out there, and the energy was just incredible. Like just going out there with that many people was like it was the right way to do it. So Orlando made splash, and we had this show and just a ton of support. It was a great time. It was a really great time.
Yeah, hands down, man. And one of the people that I've interviewed years ago, and like a good friend of mine, Jacob the Reaper was actually on that lineup, and he was like really, Yeah, he was like pretty up there. Like he wasn't like big name, but like he was definitely like one of like closer to closing act. And so yeah, so he's from what was it, Greensboro, North Carolina. And,
Nice.
Yeah, dude kills it, man. He's with Denzel's group and all that.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And damn, man, shit. So aside from A3C, is there like any memorable or like favorite like stories about the performances that you've had, whether it's on stage, going to the show, after the show? You know what I'm saying?
The best thing I can say about the shows that we did were last year we were looking for headlining slots, and we decided we didn't want to wait anymore, so we started booking our own shows. So we had this show in, I'll say Miami. This is probably the best one. So we went to Miami. We have a friend down there. We have a couple of friends down there. But one of our friends put us onto this artist, and the idea was that we're going to throw a show, and we're going to buy the venue out and make her the headliner, and we're going to open for her so we can all, just piggyback off of her audience. And the ticket sales were just not there. They were just god-awful, like zero. Maybe three. So this was like 3 days before the show, and I'm talking to the venue owner, and I was like, we gotta kind of repurpose it. We gotta figure out something here because it's not working out. And we're thinking, like, what if we did an open mic and we invited artists to come out and we made ourselves like feature artists in this open mic at this place? And he's like, that's crazy because on the day that you guys booked it, we actually typically have open mics that day of the week. He's like, so what if I just don't say anything and just treat it like it's a regular open mic and we'll just like make it your guys' open mic? So we're like, dude, that is crazy. So we had me, my brother, and one other person, the headliner. We gave us all longer sets. And I just hosted the event. I just became the MC, and then we had all these people come out from Miami, and we made all our money back. We made like $300 or so that it cost to book the venue in a city that we didn't know anybody, and we sold 0 tickets like right before it. We were able to like repurpose it right before and just rework the whole thing. So that was my best thing. That was my best memory of a show. Apart from that, though, we did the same thing in Orlando, but we actually know people in Orlando, so we were able to sell quite a few tickets. But I think I've had better experiences buying the venue out and preparing our own shows with their own themes and everything than being a part of a different show,
No, hell yeah, that's dope. I like that shit. I mean, that's one thing. I remember being invited out to Miami specifically, like Dade County and West Palm as well. It's just like I've always just been kind of skeptic about traveling up by myself. So that's why I was planning on making it this year to do that shit, but of course COVID, and then but it's very artsy out there. A lot of people are really creative in that area. Like people always say that LA is like the most creative place. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just people that fucking have an influence about someone else, and that's what they run with and claim it's their. That's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? But I see like different types of like paintings out there and different type of art. And that's like one thing I loved about that general area for sure. So that's why I've always wanted to be out there and everything.
Yeah, it is beautiful. That's close to where we were over in Wynwood area, and we don't know like Miami that well. But I remember when we spoke to the venue owner there, we were telling him like in Orlando we look to you guys as like the big city in Florida. Like you guys are the closest major city, and he's like, it's crazy because we actually look to Orlando as a more supportive music community, and the reason is Miami has so many things and it's so much more spread out that it's tough to get people to come out and support you because there's like 11 shows on any given night. Whereas in Orlando, like there would be maybe like 3 shows on a night, and that was like a little frustrating, but people would generally show up if you asked them to come out. So it's a very supportive community out here. But I was surprised to hear that about Miami, that they actually have trouble getting people to come out to the shows.
No, hands down. And I think another thing about it is because at least out here in LA, there's like people that are still trying to make a name for themselves and they're local. But people aren't fucking listening to them. People are just kind of stare at them, wait for the main act to come out. But if they hear that, what's up, everybody? I'm from Chicago. I'm here in LA, trying to make a name for myself. People are more in tune when they hear that. They're like, oh, he's not local. He's actually making moves. Oh wow, let's look at this guy. And that's why I think this. But then again, I'm no performer, but I also believe that if you actually go out on the road and you go to different shows in like different states. Like, you get more love. Like, I've interviewed people that have done that before, and they get more support from out of California than they do in California. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it makes sense. You're right, because there's a certain look to it. It's not like I just got out of my house and drove 20 minutes to go to an open mic. Like, it takes a lot of effort to go to another city and put a show together, or to get to be a part of a show,
Yeah, absolutely. Dang. So I'm assuming, like, if someone asks, like, this is Scalco. Oh my gosh, I'm fucking it up already. But they're like, oh,
I'm with you.
This thing right here, where are we gonna say that you're coming out of? Like if you're performing in LA.
At this point, I would say Orlando.
Okay.
Because I'm literally coming out of Orlando, even though I'm from New York.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's very difficult. People thought Tupac was a West Coast guy his whole life. He was born in New York or Baltimore or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, damn.
Yeah, that's an interesting question too. Like, at what point are you no longer repping where you're like from, like born from, and where is it just where you are currently?
Oh, hands down. I get asked that all the time. Like, oh, what's your hometown? I'm like, I mean, I was born in Whittier, but I grew up in Fontana until I was like 13, 14, and then moved out to La Mirada, then back to Whittier. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know how to answer that with confidence, but I do tell people I'm proud to be from Fontana, and it's just something that like is completely different than what I grew up in my teenage life. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So,
There's definitely a pride in saying you're from Queens, New York. It's always been super badass, but if I'm being truthful, I'm much more of a Floridian now than anything. So, I guess as long as you're being real to who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very true, man. That's the way I look at it. And now, 2025, where do you see yourself at?
2025, this music will be sustainable. Who's to say, man? Who's to say, like, what my audience will look like? But I know that I'll have, like, a dedicated fan base, and I'll be making enough money for this to be... I'll be living comfortably. I'll be living comfortably doing what I love.
All right. I like that answer right there.
Yeah.
So, now, for those that, if you were to tell people, like, oh, yeah, you check out my music, or, like, if someone wanted to, like, introduce your music to them, what song would you really kind of, like, put them onto at first?
It's interesting because I guess it depends on the crowd. If it's just, like, completely cold, like, I have no idea who this person is, I'd probably do In the Morning.
Okay. For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Because I'm putting people on begging, hands down, though. I mean, like, I don't know if it's just because it's new, but it's also, like, it's in my head, like, right before this interview anyway. So, I mean, it's only fair.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm trying to not pick it because it's a new one, too. So, I'm like, I don't want to, like, just assume because it's the newest, it's the best one. So, I'm trying to be, like, more objective. But it's hard. It's hard to be objective with my music.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's like picking your favorite kid.
Yeah. Also, I just listen to these songs so many freaking times. Like, I don't know which one is the best one.
For sure.
But it's an interesting question, though, looking at which one is received the best. Which one generally people mess with the most. So, but I would probably pick In the Morning.
Cool, man. Well, before we dip out of here, man, is there like any last minute announcements you would like to share, or any like shout outs you would like to send?
Definitely shout out to Tabitha for hooking this up. Much appreciated. I want to say, if you have not seen the Beggin' music video or streamed Beggin', you can go to my Instagram and you can find it at Scalco Music, Scalco Music. You hit the link in my bio, you can find the music video, you can stream the song, follow me on Spotify, please and thank you. And that's it. I thank you so much for having me on here, man. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, don't even worry about it, man. I thank you for your time. I mean, I like the music, so I wouldn't agree to this if I hated it.
I appreciate it, man.
Hands
Thank you.
down. So just like an intro, I don't have an outro, but I go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation here with a very special guest,
Chris Scalco. Thank you very much,
Cool,
Tony.
man. Peace and love, man. We'll be in contact.
Take care, man. Be well.
You too. Take care.